Hello children, we are discussing the chapter 12, light, shadows and reflections. In this chapter, the topics which we have discussed already in our previous videos, first we'll revise them. First thing which we discussed was light. What is light, bache? The term light it is a form of energy which enables us to see. It is a form of energy due to which we can see the things around us. That is known as light. Then we discussed the different objects of light on the basis of their origin. They are of two types. One, the natural sources of light, and other ones are artificial or human made. The natural sources of light are the sources which are present in nature, and the artificial source of light are the sources which are made by human beings. So these are the sources of light on the basis of their origin, that is, they are made or they are present in the nature or we made them. Human activities form them. Then we discussed the type of sources on the basis of either they allows the light to pass through them or not. Transparent objects, translucent objects and opaque objects. Transparent objects are those objects which allows the light to pass through them wholly. They completely allows the light to pass through them. Those objects, example, clean air, clean water, and the transparent glass. The second one is translucent object. The objects which allows some portion of the light to pass through them. They allows the light to pass through them partially are known as translucent objects. Example, frost glass, butter paper, tissue paper, all these are translucent objects. The third ones were opaque objects. The objects which do not allow any part of light to pass through them. They block the light completely are known as opaque objects. Example of opaque objects, the wall, the body, the chair, the cardboards, all these objects which do not allow the light to pass through them, through which we cannot see anything, are known as opaque objects. Next we have discussed the objects on the basis of either they emit their own light or they reflect the other object's light. The objects are referred as luminous and non-luminous. The objects which emit their own light are known as luminous objects, and the objects which do not emit their own light are known as non-luminous objects. Moon, chair, our body are non-luminous. They do not emit their own light. Next, we discuss the second part we are already discussed in detail, that is shadow. What is the shadow? It is a black, out frame of a body of a structure formed due to opaqueness of an object. Whensoever an opaque object blocks the path of light, then a shadow is formed. There are three conditions required for the formation of shadow. First, a source of light. Second, an opaque object which blocks the path of light. And third, an opaque screen on which shadow is obtained. Then there are certain characteristics of shadow which we have discussed. The first was, shadow is always dark, irrespective of the color of object. Second, shadow always tells us only about the outline of an object. We cannot depict the various characters like shape, size, and the correct measurement of an object by the shadow. The size and the shape of shadow varies with the distance between the object and the source of light, as well as the distance between object and the screen. The size and the shadow also varies with the position of the light source. So all those are characteristics of the formation of shadow. So that we have discussed already, bache. Then we have discussed one more property of the light, that is rectilinear propagation of light. The rectilinear propagation of light means whensoever the light travels, it always travels along a straight line, along a straight path. That property of light is known as rectilinear propagation of light. The next topic of our discussion, that is pinhole camera, is based on rectilinear propagation of light. This is pinhole camera. What is a pinhole camera? It is a camera, it is a, as its name indicates, it's a pinhole through which we can see the images of various objects. The principle of pinhole camera, what do you mean by principle, bache? The basis on which it works. Everything in science has a principle. एक सिद्धांत होता है बच्चे साइंस में हर चीज के काम करने का. And the principle of pinhole camera is, as I described in my previous part, rectilinear propagation of light. The property of light due to which it always travels in a straight line, that is known as rectilinear propagation of light. This is a pinhole camera. You can make it at home, bache, as well. For that you require cardboard. A shoe box is, appropriate for this. This is a shoe box which is, taped all around by a proper cover so that it do not look bad. Then, bache, cover the shoe box or whatsoever the cardboard you are taking by the black chart or black paint. Then, on one side, look at this one side, bache, this side. One side, cut it in a rectangular form like this and place butter paper over it. This is butter paper, bache. This part. This is butter paper. It is very easily available in the bakery shops as well as in the disposable market shops. On this side, you have to make a hole. This hole is small, so that is why that may be not visible to you. But on this side, make a small hole. If you make that hole a larger one, then multiple images will form. That I'll explain you later on. So this is a cardboard, bache. First, either paint it black or adhere black chart paper over it. On one side, make a rectangular cut and join the butter paper with the help of adhesive tape. Now, bache, place an object in front of it like the burning candle and watch. Here, place the burning candle and observe the image in this butter paper inside it. Then you will observe, bache, that an inverted image of this, say this candle flame is referred as AB. This candle flame को हमने एक नाम दे दिया है बच्चे, and that name is AB. The light from A passes straight and falls on this sheet. The light from B passes straight and fall on this sheet. लाइट ऑलवेज ट्रेवल्स इन अ स्ट्रेट लाइन बच्चे, तो जो लाइट रे ए से जाएगी उस छोटे से होल से इस पोर्शन पर पड़ेगी और जो लाइट बी से जाएगी वो इस पोर्शन पर बचेगी. एंड दैट इज हाउ एन इन्वर्टेड इमेज इज फॉर्म्ड. इन्वर्टेड मीन्स बच्चे उल्टी. ए नीचे की ओर बना है ए डैश और बी ऊपर की ओर बना है बी डैश. द ए इज फॉर्म अपसाइड डाउन एंड बी इज फॉर्म अपसाइड अप. So that means the inverted image of an object is formed. Inverted means upside down. And why this forms an image like this? Because light always travels along a straight path. So that's how the pinhole camera works. This pinhole camera works in the nature as well. If you ever visited a place where a large number of trees are there, then between the leaves of those trees, there are certain gaps in between. ये मान लो बच्चे leaves हैं तो उनके बीच में gap होता है. Those gaps are irregular in shape, but you will see the circular light patches on the ground. Those circular light patches are the images of sun, which is round in shape. अगर बच्चे आप कभी एक डेंस फॉरेस्ट में जाओ और नीचे की ओर फ्लोर पर ऑब्जर्व करो तो आपको बिल्कुल जहां पे बहुत सारे ट्रीज हैं और ट्रीज के बीच में गैप होता है हल्का हल्का, तो वहां पर आप देखेंगे बहुत सारे राउंड पैचेस बने हुए लाइट के. Those are actually pinhole camera patches. The pinhole camera which is formed by the gap between the leaves of those canopy of trees. So that is an example of pinhole camera in the nature. The uses of pinhole camera. Pinhole camera can be used to see the solar eclipse. We place the pinhole camera towards the solar eclipse and we can observe the image of solar eclipse on the butter paper. Next, it can be used to see some distant objects from a far off place like a tree, a building, but it always forms an inverted image of that tree or of that building. ये हमेशा उसकी image क्या बनाएगा बच्चे? उल्टी. So these are the uses of pinhole camera activity. I am explaining you again बच्चे. Pinhole camera works on rectilinear propagation of light, that light always travels along a straight path. Second thing, pinhole camera always forms an image, it never forms a shadow. ये हमेशा एक इमेज बनाता है, कभी भी ये शैडो फॉर्म नहीं करता. ए से लाइट रे चल रही है बच्चे ये और स्ट्राइक कर रही है सीधा. क्यों? लाइट हमेशा स्ट्रेट लाइन में ट्रेवल करती है. बी से लाइट रे चल रही है बच्चे ऊपर, तो बच्चे बी बना है ऊपर की ओर और ए बना है नीचे की ओर, तो उसने इमेज को क्या कर दिया है? उल्टा. सपोज बच्चे अगर मार्कर ऐसे पड़ा है तो मार्कर कैसे दिखाई देगा? इस तरह से. जो इसका कैप है वो किस तरफ दिखाई देगा? नीचे की ओर, अपसाइड डाउन. दैट इज नोन एज इन्वर्टेड. So a pinhole camera always forms an inverted image as it works on rectilinear propagation of light. Now we understand the concept of pinhole camera by the help of an animated video.
Pinhole camera. We can see the images of different objects using a pinhole camera. It is based on the principle that light travels in a straight line. Let us construct a pinhole camera. Materials required: a medium-sized cardboard box, a translucent ground glass or waxed paper, a needle, a pair of scissors, and adhesive tape, black paint or color, a candle, a matchbox and a brush. Method: take a medium-sized cardboard box. A shoebox can also be used, and blacken the inside of the box with black paint or color. With the help of a needle, make a tiny hole or pinhole on one side of the cardboard box. Cut out a rectangular portion of the side of the cardboard box opposite to the one on which the pinhole was made. Cover this rectangular hole with ground glass or a butter paper sheet. Stick the paper sheet with adhesive tape. This paper sheet serves as a screen. Our pinhole camera is now ready to see images. Place a candle on a table and light it with a matchstick. Place the pinhole camera a few inches away from the lighted candle, with the side having the pinhole facing the candle. Move the pinhole camera forward and backward so that a clear image of the candle flame is obtained on the screen. The image formed is colored. The image formed by the pinhole camera is inverted upside down. This is because light travels in a straight line. A light ray from the top of the candle flame A falls on the screen at A dash. After passing through the pinhole H, a ray from the bottom B falls at B dash. Similarly, rays of light from each point on the candle flame fall on the screen after passing through the pinhole. Together, these rays of light make up the image B dash A dash.
Now we will discuss the next topic, that is reflection of light. What is reflection, bache? The bending back or sending back of the light when it strikes a surface, when it falls on a surface, that is known as reflection of light. Whensoever light rays fall on an object, bache, then they will bend back, they will reflect back, and that is known as a reflection. Because of the reflection of light, the images of an object are formed. What is reflection, bache? The bending back or the sending back of the light when it strikes on the surface of an object, when it falls on the surface of an object, is known as reflection. For example, bache, this ball, when I hit it on the ground, it will reflect back and comes back. It will reflect and comes back. So this is the reflection of this ball from a surface. Likewise, when light is falling on this ball, that light coming from that tube light bache, which is above this board, and that light will goes into your eyes. That is why you are able to see this ball. That is because of the reflection. Why you are seeing this t-shirt color? Because the light which is falling over it will goes to the screen. That is why you are able to see it. So the reason to see anything is because of the reflection of light which is falling over it. This reflection is of two types. One, the regular reflection, and other one is the diffused reflection. What is regular reflection? When the incident rays means the rays which are falling, which are striking on a surface. This surface is a smooth surface. What is a smooth surface? Which do not have irregularities. जिस surface पर ज़्यादा irregularities नहीं है, that is known as a smooth surface. When a parallel beam falls over it, then it reflects in the same direction, as well as in the same parallel manner. That type of reflection is known as regular reflection. When the parallel beam of light which strikes on the surface, on the smooth surface, then it bends back in the same parallel manner in one direction. That is known as regular reflection. Whereas the diffused reflection is when the parallel beam of light which comes moves in random directions, reflect back or bends back in random directions in irregular manner. That is known as diffused or irregular reflection. जब बच्चे पैरेलल बीम आ रही है वो पैरेलली ही रिफ्लेक्ट हो तो इसे बच्चे रेगुलर रिफ्लेक्शन बोलते हैं. द कंडीशन नेसेसरी फॉर इट इज द सरफेस मस्ट बी स्मूथ विदाउट irregularities. Whereas in the diffused or irregular reflection, the incident ray which comes, the incident parallel rays which come, which strikes on this rough surface, those incident ray will bend back in the random directions. So that type of reflection is known as diffused reflection. Now we understand the concept of reflection by an animated video.
When we throw a tennis ball at a wall, then the ball bounces back. This means that when the tennis ball strikes the wall sends it back. Similarly, when lights fall on the surface of an object, the object sends the light back. The process of sending back the light rays which fall on the surface of an object is called reflection of light.
I am holding a plane mirror in my hand which forms an image of mine. You can see easily, the image is formed by a plane mirror because it performs the regular reflection. Now, we will discuss an activity that these plane surfaces are much better in reflecting the light as compared to the rough surfaces. I have a laser light in my hand. This is the laser light. When I throw this laser light over the mirror, then you will see a reflection over this board. So here you can see it. I am not, placing this laser light over the board directly, but you can see when this laser light is striking to the mirror and I am moving the mirror, then the position of laser light keeps on changing as this mirror is a good reflector of light. So the laser light which is in my hand is reflected and it is pouring over the board. It is reflecting over the board. So this activity proves that the plane mirror is a good reflector of light. Now I have a book in my hand. We'll now see by an activity that this book is a rough surface and it do not reflect the light properly. बच्चे जब मेरे हाथ में मिरर था और मैं लाइट यहाँ पर डाल रहा था बच्चे, तो दैट लाइट विल रिफ्लेक्टेड ऑन दिस सरफेस. बट व्हेन नाउ आई fall this light, on this light, laser light on this book, there is no reflection of this light forms. If I switch off the light beta and turn on the light bache, you can see the light is falling over the book, but there is no such image or reflection on the board bache. Why is it so? Because this is not a good reflecting surface, because this book is a rough surface. And rough surfaces do not reflect the light properly. Rough surfaces performs diffused reflection, due to which no image is formed. Now we will discuss lateral inversion. Lateral means sides, inversion means ulta ho jana, to invert them. It is the phenomena in which the left side of an object becomes right in its image, and right of an object will become left in its mirror image. क्या होता है बच्चे, जो लेफ्ट चीज है, लेफ्ट हैंड है, लेफ्ट पोर्शन है, वो राइट दिखता है, और जो राइट पोर्शन है वो क्या दिखता है, लेफ्ट. दिस लेफ्ट राइट रिवर्सल ऑफ एन ऑब्जेक्ट एंड इट्स मिरर इमेज इज नोन एज लेटरल इन्वर्जन. जब बच्चों एक ऑब्जेक्ट और उसकी मिरर इमेज का लेफ्ट राइट रिवर्सल हो जाए, दैट इज नोन एज lateral inversion. If you stand in front of a plane mirror, then you will observe that your right side appears to be left and your left side appears to be right. If you write an alphabet in front of plane mirror, then in the image it forms inverted. C represented as this. So this left-right reversal is known as lateral inversion. Only a few alphabets are there which remain as it is, like T, A, I. It will remain as it is. They do not laterally invert. U, V. So these are the certain alphabets which will remain as it is, which do not undergoes lateral inversion during image formation. Otherwise, usually the letters will change, left right inverted, and then appears inverted. That is the particular reason why ambulance written in front of the ambulance vehicles is in the laterally inverted words. You must have seen the ambulance sign in front of an ambulance, but it is always written as inverted, like this. Why is it so? Because when a person who is sitting in the car, there is a plane mirror placed at the top. That plane mirror will invert it, and the person can easily saw it and can easily gives the sight to ambulance. It's a very good habit. If you are driving, or if your father is driving the car, then if ambulance is behind you, then you must have to give sight to it, because that ambulance is an emergency vehicle. So so it sees as a correct position. That is why ambulance is written as inverted in the front of the ambulance vehicle. So this is lateral inversion. Now we will discuss the difference between an image and a shadow. There are certain parameters on which we differentiate image and shadow. The first parameter is color. The image of an object is formed of same color as that of object. The color of the image is same as that of object. If you are placing a red color object in front of mirror, then the image is formed of same color, whereas the shadow of this marker forms black. In fact, shadow of every color object is always formed dark, black in color. So the color of image is same as that of object, whereas color of shadow is always dark. The second parameter on which we differentiate them is details. Image gives us the complete detailing about an object. Image gives us all the details regarding an object, of an object, whereas shadow does not gives the detail about the object. It's just a dark outline of the object, but it does not gives us the idea about the detailing of that particular object. Third is lateral inversion, the left-right reversal of an object and its mirror image is known as lateral inversion. Image undergoes lateral inversion. In image, the left of an object appears right and right appears to be left. But in case of shadow, there is no lateral inversion. So, lateral inversion occurs in the case of image, but there is no lateral inversion in case of a shadow. The fourth characteristic is formation. How does it form? What is the principle behind its formation? Image is formed when light rays get reflected from a particular object. If formation of image occurs due to reflection of light, the principle behind the formation of image is reflection or the bending back of light from that particular source. Whereas the shadow formed due to opaque nature of an object. That is, that object when does not allows the light to pass through it, only then a shadow is formed. So, the reason of the formation of image is reflection of light, whereas the shadow formed due to opaque nature of an object, that is, it blocks the path of light. The next is size. The size of image is equals to the size of object in case of plane mirror. The size of image is always equals to the size of object in case of plane mirror, whereas the size of the shadow varies, and it depends on various factors. The first one, the distance between the object and the source of light, the distance between the object and the screen, and the position of the object. So the size of shadow depends on various factors, like the distance between the source of light and the object, the distance between the object and the screen, and position of the object. So these are the major differences between the image and the shadow.